I'd like to introduce Michael Abelman. Michael is a farmer, an author, an activist, and I know, Michael, you'd like to share your experience of moving from a place that became incorporated and the impact this had on the farm that you ran.
I came from an area in California called the Goleta Valley, which was, for most of my 30 years in that valley, the largest unincorporated area in Santa Barbara County in California. Santa Barbara County is a very large county in California. And of course, as you know, Salt Spring Island, I believe, is the largest unincorporated area in British Columbia. I am here because of the changes that took place down there. During my 30 years in that valley, I ran a small farm that for most of the time I was there was surrounded by other farms in a valley with 30 feet of rich topsoil, a perfect Mediterranean climate, citrus and avocados, and those were primary crops there. Many people asked me when I came here, why would you possibly move from such a place? Well, let me tell you why I moved from such a place. During the time we were there, incorporation came. It became the city of Goleta. And that farm sat right smack in the middle of the new city of Goleta. And I was threatened with jail time over the crow of my roosters, the compost that we had made for years, recycling vast amounts of material that used to head into the landfill, the signs advertising our produce. And eventually, our water supply was cut off or reduced, housing for staff was reduced, and a chokehold was placed on that land simply because what we did became so different than what was happening around it. I really regret, I have two wonderful photographs that were in a book I did about this place that show that farm from the air in 1954, and then you turn the page in 1998. In 1954, it was all agriculture. And then in 1998, it looks like a computer chip. It's entirely built up. Now, that didn't happen because people were mean-spirited or they didn't care about where they lived or because any of the negative reasons we might think. It was really an economic incentive to have to support the endless increase in the costs of running that city, you know. And so, now, 30 feet of topsoil, the entire valley is paved over and built on. A friend of mine reminds me that by paving over our precious topsoil, we are preserving it for future generations. But I would like to see that avoided here. So I think that, I think we are in this decision, I believe, is probably the most important decision that any of us will make for the future of this island. And I really believe that. And I have to say that in watching, and I know some would say that these are not fair comparisons, but in watching the Brexit vote and watching the recent election in the US, these were highly reactionary votes, voting against something, throwing something out without considering what was coming next. There was no detail on what the next step was, and I think the results have been catastrophic, okay? And we are living in a reactionary time, and I think we need to be careful here, you know. And the last thing I want to say, and I'll close, is that I hope that we can all avoid what appears to be a tendency towards tribalism here on the island, where if someone doesn't agree with us or has a different opinion, then they are suddenly in a different camp, a different tribe, and are somewhere out there. Whatever happens at the end of this vote, we still have to live together. And I think it's really essential that we not make this personal. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Michael.